Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Substitute Podcast. I am your host. I am Graded Growlithe on Instagram. My name is Mark, and our first guest this week is Dawn's Piplup. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Don's Piplup, and most of you know me from my recent video on Instagram. I'm pretty new to the community. I've been in it for about, I'd say, like 6 months to a year probably. And my name is Fiona in IRL, in real life.
And my second guest for this week is Bulbio on Instagram. If you want to introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, hey everyone. I'm Bulbio on Instagram. I've been in and out of that community for the past maybe 4 or 5 years now. And I am otherwise known as Lex in the real world.
Oh, not the scary real world. The Pokemon world is much better. Well, I don't know. Is it? Well, I guess they will discuss that. So I'm going to forego the "Did you collect Pokemon as a kid?" question that everyone asks. But my question is going to be for each of you: what's the first Pokemon item you remember buying?
Ooh.
With your own money, not your parents.
I do remember. So I was like 9 when Pokemon came over here and was big, and my parents bought me Pokemon Blue, but the thing I remember buying with my own money was like the official guide for it, and it was the holy, it was like the Bible of playing through that game.
I can imagine, yeah, defos.
Yeah,
No Google.
It's old.
I had the Emerald one, and I still have it at my parents' house. It's like is the oracle of all knowledge.
Absolutely.
Nice. Well, I was pretty young, to be fair, in general. Like, I'm much younger than most people in the community. So I got bought Heart Gold, Soul Silver. That was my first game. And I guess this wasn't bought, but like I had this like knitted like Pikachu jumper that I used to wear like all the time. And I guess that's kind of like what kept me into it. You know what I mean? And I also had like all the Pokemon movies, but they were all on videotape. Which now looking back at it, it's like what? Like what even? Like no DVDs, just videotape.
Yeah, I was talking to my girlfriend earlier, and she was saying that when she was younger, she was into Pokemon because she's got a brother who's a bit older, and she was like, she liked the figures and all the anime and stuff. Doesn't care for it now. Doesn't collect anything. She's just not interested at all. It's very weird.
Some people grow out of it, and other people are a 30-year-old woman who life revolves around it.
For sure. But yeah, I think my first thing's probably like a plushie or something like that. And like first like thing that was probably like a 3DS game. Like that I bought myself, you know?
Yeah.
One of the 3DS games, probably Pokemon Y.
Yeah, so like I didn't collect Pokemon when I was a kid.
Me neither.
So I had a few cards, right? Because my sister's 10 years older than me, so she collected it when it came out, like not particularly intensely, but she had quite a few cards. So I had a few of hers, but they weren't really mine.
Nice.
Oh,
I've got a funny story actually to do with cards and siblings. My brother he's 13 years older than me, and he had all the base set cards, you know, and my mum binned them. when she was cleaning out the house, and I was like, when I first got into Pokemon and realized like how much kind of like, obviously I don't care about the money, but when I realized, you know, I was like, oh mum, do you still have those like cards? And she was like, no, I must have binned them. And it hurt. It was pain. It was super pain. Oh no. After looking at eBay, it was super pain.
I'm of the age where I did collect them when I was I was like 9 when it came out, and I collected the whole base set, and I probably stopped collecting when like the Neo sets finished, and then got back into it like 2016 when Evolutions came out. I was like, oh, these are like old cards. I like these. I'm back into it, but yeah, I've still got like my old collection from when I was a kid, thankfully.
See, I have like the weirdest journey because I didn't collect it when I was a kid. I started collecting in 2014, just literally randomly.
Okay.
So I was at uni at the time, and I was in my second year with my housemates, and I was because I used to collect Yu-Gi-Oh when I was a kid, just because I thought it was cool. It still looks
Yeah.
cool. But my sister used to take me to Toys R Us to buy them, and so after I got a bit older and I kind of was at school and was doing other stuff. I was looking on Chaos Cards for some Yu-Gi-Oh cards to be like, oh, well, you know, do they still exist? Can I still buy them? And I saw a Dragons Exalted booster box, and I bought it. Which, looking back on it,
I
it was
love that. You
it was
went
80
straight in for the booster box.
Straight in, yeah. Most
Yeah.
expensive thing.
I was like, you know what, buying them single packs, it's not for me. I just buy a box. But it's £80 at the time, and I think that box is like £2,000 now. So
Yeah,
shows you.
yeah, super expensive. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
that it matters, but
You
like,
can't look
yeah.
back in hindsight because it just makes you cry at the things that you could have bought.
Yeah, always.
But yeah, yeah, so the reason I've asked you to be here specifically is as you said, Fiona, about the video that you made, which, you know, obviously quite rightly has got the attention that I feel like it deserves.
Yeah.
So I just want to, yeah, I just want to ask both of you, do you think that people are still unaware of the treatment that women, and obviously other, I guess, minority groups, even though women technically is proportionally not a minority group, but we're not getting to that. Like in the online space, I would say anyone that isn't a man, do you think people are still unaware of the negative treatment that they get?
Yes and no. I think a lot of people were aware, but because they have partners, like I don't think they were aware on their own like accord. Like they didn't realize it themselves, you know. It's because their partner, wife, or whoever told them. But I'm gonna say no because literally, yesterday I had a guy in my DMs message me saying, "Hey, just wanted to let you know that you're so hot." And then I went onto his page and he's literally got like a full family, and I was like, "Why? Like, why do you do this? You know?" Like I know, and I just replied back like, "Go check up on your son. Like, don't why what?"
Yeah,
So I want to say yes, but also no.
I am in agreement with you there. Like I think there's people who aren't aware of like the fact that women get this on the daily, like in the community and outside of it. But I think, you know, there's people that aren't aware. There's people that are aware and that are, you know, the people doing it. And then there's people that are aware and speak out about it. And then there's people, the worst ones, the people that are aware and just turn a blind eye to it.
For sure, for sure. It's like the guys in the comments that were like, "Oh yeah, but you know this goes both ways. You know, girls use it to get things," and I was like, "Well, no. What do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
what? What?" Like, I just didn't understand what they were trying to say at all. So yeah, that's the answer. Yeah, yes and no. I think the majority of people who have like a large platform, you know, the majority of you that have like have kind of gotten to know, definitely, yeah. I think you've fully taken it on board and you try your best. Like for example, in the Victory Road Discord, I've never felt more like comfortable around like a group of men ever. You know, so I think you've taken it in well and like presented yourselves well. But I think that a lot of people are just being very ignorant and not really like changing the way they act.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like agree with that. And it's like what you were saying there. It's like, you know, there are spaces in this community which are totally, you know, cool and very welcoming. But I guess it kind of, a lot of women feel like you know, a bit cautious about it, because it is a very male dominated community, I would say.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, the Pokemon community is, you know, quite outwardly male dominated when you look at, you know, the creators out there that you can see. But there is a huge amount of us in the hobby. It's just some of us like don't want to put ourselves out there just because we can't be bothered with the kind of crap that comes with it sometimes.
Definitely. And I feel like the most common thing that's actually been said to me is, "Oh, I was just complimenting you," and I'm like, I'm trying to like just show my cards, you know what I mean? Like, and they're like, "Well, why'd you put your face out there?" And it's like, well, it's more personal, you know what I mean? It's not, I don't know, I like it, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to like get guys, like that's the weirdest thing ever, you know? If I want to get a guy, I'll go down the road and get like a coffee and speak to someone. I'm not gonna like marry someone in my DMs, you know, like that's so strange to me. Anyway,
yeah, it's wild. Like,
Yeah, like
if a guy
they think
put
that
his
I'm like,
face-
yeah, they think I'm like there for like a dating website or something. It's so strange.
Yeah, I find that really like backwards because if a guy puts his face in a video or holding up a card or whatever, you know, it's it's not like the same situation. A guy's not
Yeah,
going, but
exactly, exactly.
you put your face on that, so you're asking for harassment in your DMs. Like,
That's basically what I'm told. Yeah.
it just makes no bloody sense.
No, I mean,
But
it makes no sense at all.
Yeah, like as a guy who puts his face out there, like I've been actively encouraged to do it, and I feel
Exactly.
and I've done it, and no
Yeah.
one said anything about it. They're just like, oh, to be fair, the thing you always get asked when you haven't put your face out there as a man is like, are you going to do a face reveal? And then when you do, it's like, oh, cool, I'll never mention this ever again.
like
Yeah.
I really like I really like seeing people's faces in like on like Instagram and things like that. But I also have like respect for the people who want to keep their privacy as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because a lot of people just get a load of stuff that they don't want, or they don't want to show who they are, and you just got to respect.
I definitely agree with that. A little point I was going to bring up is like, so I know I've been talking about how it's like I've been showing my face and I get a lot of these comments, but there's some girls in my DMs after the video, and they were like, the only way people know that they're a girl is like either they've got like, which is stupid because this could be a guy easily, but their name, if they're wearing like nail polish, when they hold the card, if their account looks girly, and like all of them have received the exact same like kind of harassment as me,
Yeah.
And it's weird because guys, I don't know if you've seen the the screenshot I put up, but there was a guy like asking, he was like, oh, I'll give you my crystal Lugia if you give me a chance to get to know you. And I was like, that is like the weirdest thing ever. Like, I'm not gonna get to know someone because of a value, like because of money,
That's a very, very weird kind of proposition.
And I don't know. I don't
buy your time with a card.
Yeah, and what I wanted to bring up was, we can talk about this whenever, but I don't know if they're actually this is how they think that they are supposed to talk to women, like in order to like have a friend or a girlfriend or whatever, Well, one, you shouldn't be really. You can look for that on Instagram if you'd like, but most of us don't. I'm not into that. But like, I don't know if they think that that's like actually how you start a conversation. Like, yo, if I give you my crystal Lugia, you can get to know me. Oh, you have such nice lips. Speak to me. You know what I mean? They're not just like, hey, how you doing? What's the latest card you've pulled? You know what I mean? They're like so weird about it.
I think, I think I saw someone make this point on, I think it was on TikTok, not that long ago, and this kind of resonates with what you've just said. Like, and this might be a bit of a generalization, but someone said, men tend to try and find a girl who shares the same hobbies as them, and I guess on maybe like an appropriate place to maybe speak to someone that you're interested in, like a dating site, you might not be able to find someone who's into, I don't know, Pokemon, but it's just wildly inappropriate to just throw someone a DM
it is wildly inappropriate to just kind of assume that, one, I'm looking for someone, two, that I'm of age or near your age or interested at all, you know what I mean? Like, I feel
it's not
like
the place to do it, is it?
Yeah, and I feel like even in real life, like completely out of the Pokemon, like it would be really inappropriate for me to just go up to someone and be like, just say something like that, like straight to their face, and almost assume that they want that.
Yeah.
Agreed. And like, it's not like harming me, like coming in my DMs. Like me personally, it could harm other people. There were people saying that it's really affected them, but it's just so inappropriate. Like you were saying, it's just like mad. It's absolutely mad, and I don't know where in their head that they think that that's like. I don't know if they're doing it to harass or if they're doing it generally to speak to a woman.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah, that's basically all the points I've got to make right now at the moment.
No, I mean, honestly, I just have no idea. Like, I don't know what it's like. So, the more you can say about it, the better. Because I'm not going to tell you what happens because I don't know. So
Yeah, well, I feel like it's become pretty normalized that like they come in my DMs now that I screenshot it, I send it to all my male friends and female friends in the Pokemon industry, and I just laugh at it. And it's like they who was it? Was it, I don't know if it was you, Mark, or someone else, but someone came in my someone messaged me and they were like, you know, I have a rule before I send a message to someone. How would this look in a screenshot? You know, you need to think. You need to think before you send something. Like, how is this going to look like on public social media, like out there? You know.
That wasn't me, but that's a good message.
Yeah,
to
it's
take
a good
away.
it's a good point. You know, like you got to watch because like I've seen things on TikTok where people have actually they've investigated so much into the person's Instagram and they've phoned their workplace and sent the screenshots or whatever to them. Like people who have been cancelled and they've been fired from their workplace and stuff. So like you actually like in all seriousness, like if you are doing this, like you actually have to watch because the world is becoming a lot more bitchy now, I'd like to say. You know? Like people are taking like justice, I don't know what other word to use, like into their own hands because like nothing's really done about harassment or like saying a slur or anything, that people are just screenshotting it and sending it to what they can, their mums, their partners. Like I could send it to all these guys' wives if I wanted to, you know? So like just think like before you send, like what's this gonna do, you know? And 90% of the time you're not gonna get anything from messaging any of us. Well, me anyway. I don't know about the others, but the way you're sending the messages to me, if that's what you're sending to the other people you're trying to, I don't know what you're trying to get from us, but you won't get anywhere apart from like negativity. Like it'll just make you feel worse than you did in the first place.
It's because like you say, like it doesn't work, and I'm not surprised it doesn't work because I can't. No one's ever told me that this is a method that they've got for
exactly
picking someone up. But like, I feel like a lot of guys have this sort of like shoot your shot culture. It's like, like you know, you got to go for it. It's like you got to be in the DMs, and it's like, it's just awful. I have to say that I'm not part of this. I'm not part of the be in the DMs culture.
But like at the end of the day, like you need to remember, like we are, well, the majority of us are like nerds. Like we don't like that, like stereotypically, you know. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like we're not, I'm not saying women are like that, but like if that works in a different community, I don't know, like I couldn't tell you that. But personally, you know, I couldn't care less really if my partner's into like my hobby or not, you know, because it's my hobby, I like it myself, you know. I'm confident in that, and I'm not gonna like stop it because my partner doesn't like it, or like not speak to someone because they don't like the hobby. So like them, I get that they're going for girls in the hobby because like that's kind of what they're told to do, you know, to find a partner who shares an interest with you. But yeah, this is not the way to do it because I think majority of the girls in this community are not like
they're in it for the
are
hobby.
either.
We're here to
Exactly,
hobby,
but like
right?
I don't find like Pokemon like a romantic conversation. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like I'm not like sitting talking about Pokemon like, oh yeah, keep it coming, man. I love this guy so much. He's talking so well about his PSA cards and how much money he has in PSA.
Oh my god,
You know
he
what I mean?
knows
Like,
the difference between and shadowless.
Oh my god, wow, yeah, like and honestly, like most Pokemon guys like put me off, like mostly because like no offense, like I mean.
Oh no, you get this behavior all the time.
Yeah, but like it like applies to cards as well. Like I was doing a stream and everyone in the comments was like, oh yeah, Marnie's a waifu, and I was like, what? And then they were like, no, Misty's the original waifu, and I was like, these girls you're speaking about in the anime are so young, like you're making me uncomfortable, man. Like so you can say they're like awesome characters, they're funny, you know what I mean? You could say any other describing word, but do not call them waifus. Like what? You call like Cynthia a waifu, or like Lusamine or Skyla, or like the gym leaders, you know what I mean? But like the characters that are supposed to be kids growing up is just a bit strange. And like so in general, speaking about Pokemon with males who do that. I know not all of you do that because a majority, especially PSA Pimp, are all like, that's fucking weird, you know? But like I feel like the two topics, the harassment of the woman and the weird Pokemon sexualization of the girls in the Pokemon, like almost like magnet together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
So, like I'll be speaking to them and they'll be like, oh, who's your favorite character? And they'll be like, oh, mine's Misty. She's such a waifu. And I'll be like, oh, you're doing even worse now. you know?
Yeah.
It's the whole shabam of like all this weird stuff rather than the Pokemon being like, oh, like, do you want to like go live and do a pack battle? You know what I mean? Like just something
Yeah.
really casual. Do something really casual that's like interactive and gets me speaking to you, you know?
Yeah, let's talk about the actual
Yeah,
hobby.
like I feel
Let's
like
talk
maybe
about
like a podcast on dating tips would be good for these guys. Like I
I mean,
don't
Yeah.
I'm really failing to understand because I've never
Yeah.
like I know I'm a woman, but like I've never like how do you say it?
Shoot your shot.
Shooted my shot or what? I don't know. I don't know how I would say that in like past tense,
shot
but you
your
know what I mean?
shot.
Yeah,
Shoot your shot.
I've never done that. You know, I've
Yeah.
always like I've never caught feelings for someone by looking at them or like watching their podcast or watching their stream. Like I have to speak to people, you know, and
Yeah.
have like a personal thing with them to like even be like, oh yeah, I want them as like my friend or whatever, my close friend, you know. It doesn't just happen from me seeing their Instagram. I see that much more of like a community like member, you know.
Yeah.
It's interesting,
If
isn't it?
that
It's
makes
like,
sense.
no, I totally get where you're coming from. It's like a big problem with the internet these days is that when you put yourself out there in any way, people feel like they know you,
Yeah,
but
totally.
they only know the bits that you show. So it's like, you know,
Totally, yeah.
if I watch
Yeah,
if I watch your stream, Fiona, I know you an hour a day, like 3 days a week.
Yeah, sure,
Like,
sure.
like
And you only get like what someone is willing to put out there as well.
Completely get that. Completely get that. That's why Twitch streamers face so much of this too. But that's a completely different topic.
Yeah.
But I think like it's like thinking. I think it's the problem with like thinking you're owed something. You know, like oh I've liked and followed and helped this person, so now they should reply to my DM or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. For an example, you know. And it's
I
that
would-
like thinking you have that like power because you've helped someone. It's just stupid, you know.
Yeah, it's like, I watched your free content. Now you owe me everything.
Yeah, exactly. Now you owe me like a full conversation and a good night message or whatever, and it's like what, what? You know?
There's
Yeah.
a reason that OnlyFans is wildly successful, and that's the reason.
Yeah,
Is because you can
exactly.
you can get that exchange where you physically will pay someone. You will pay someone
But
money,
even then,
and they will give you the feelings that like you feel validated in having.
Yeah, and
even then, there's boundaries though that I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
a lot
exactly,
of people
exactly.
still
try and push. Yeah.
still try to push. Yeah, I think.
But I just
Oh, sorry.
Let me go. No, let me go.
No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say like, assuming these men are looking at it the same way. I think they just need to. I say men. It's just because I've had no woman harass me in the industry. We'll go with that first. I've had absolutely no woman at all, or a person who identifies as woman, harass me at all. Not once, you know. And the majority of people, I could label some right now. Mark, PSA Pimp, Card Bazaar, JDM. You know, the majority of people have not done anything wrong. You know, they're lovely. They help me. They do trades with me. They talk to me. You know what I mean? Like I've not really ever had like many friends, so it's really helped me. Like the Pokemon community is really positive. But I think that this little group of people who can't differentiate like community and like paid, I don't know, I want to say paid sex work, but maybe that's not what they're looking for. But if that is what they're looking for, they can't like differentiate it. You know? That's kind of it, really. Like I feel like they just don't differentiate like why someone would go on Twitch and show their face if they weren't looking for harassment. Like that's the kind of comments you get. Like just to add, because you were asking what it's like, it kind of feels like people are constantly attacking you, like you're being. And there's nothing wrong with doing sexual paid sex work as well. So I don't know why they like come and like slag people off for showing their face on an Instagram. Like it makes no sense. But it makes no sense basically.
Yeah, that's a real problem I have. I think with certain people, like will really put down people maybe for having an OnlyFans or doing paid sex work. It's like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and if you don't want to consume it, you just leave it alone and don't give that person any
for sure
hate for it. It was like and this is probably one of the reasons that Mark had asked me to come on to this podcast, is that I did a load of Instagram stories and had a lot of things to say after, and I don't know if you saw this, Fiona. It was,
yeah, I think I've seen. possibly.
Frosted Caribou. She did so she's like a creator on YouTube, and she did this wonderfully produced video about kind of the current state of the TCG and the struggle to get product, the big inflation in prices, like really knowledgeable stuff that she backed up with a lot of facts and a lot of kind of story over the last year.
Yeah.
Like she focused on a variety of reasons of why, you know, the hobby is quite difficult for people to get into and enjoy at the minute. And she spoke about, you know, Logan Paul's videos being a big cause, and the big thing she focused on is, you know, how creators are making content that's really focused on the monetary value and the profit.
Yeah, exactly. They're
and
specifically focusing on the money. Yeah.
yeah, and like, you know, she didn't dismiss herself from that own argument. She's a content creator herself, but she kind of made the point about creators kind of holding themselves accountable and maybe, you know, just thinking twice about the way their content affects the overall state of the hobby. But the thing that I kind of focused on after that was the response to that video. There were a lot of she put in a load of clips in her video of certain content creators, and there was a lot of responses from them and other people who weren't in the video but create content too. And just, well, some of the responses were pretty horrible, but scattered amongst a lot of the comments of those as well was just really difficult to read stuff. It's just, you know, diminishing her content down to, you know, oh, you know, she wears like shorts and a
Yeah,
t-shirt.
anything they can
Therefore,
find. Yeah.
she, you know, oh, it's just simps that watch, like simps.
Yeah,
you know,
you're only doing well because you're a girl. People only
yeah,
like you because you're pretty. You've only
yeah,
done well on YouTube because you show a bit of skin. Yeah, totally, 100%.
yeah,
Get it?
and I just could not get on with that. She, like, her content on that video was great, and like people were saying, oh yeah, well, you just have all these followers because, like, oh, the worst one was like, it's like you have an orgasm when you open shiny cardboard. I was like, shut up, man. Have you watched a Leon
hell.
Hart video?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
have you seen him? But it's just like, if a guy had created that video, I just don't see the same like level of response.
It's never the same.
As it,
There
as
might
it
be some, but it's never the same it's never the same like kind of sexist comments.
yeah, people will be talking
Yeah.
about the way she
Completely.
looks and
And
the way
they
she
don't,
speaks, rather
and they
than
don't
the
see anything
content.
wrong with it, and I get that a lot as well. They're like, actually, when I first started, this is a very short story, but I posted my first like selfie on my Pokemon account, and I hadn't even changed my account. It was just Fiona Pokemon. That's all it was called. You know, I hadn't decided a name. I hadn't really met anyone. I was just doing it for fun, you know, and I was showing off my figures and just a whole load of stuff. It wasn't specifically Pokemon at that time.
Yeah.
And someone commented on my photo, Pokemon OnlyFans girls. No, what did he say? He was like, "You're a disgrace to the Pokemon community." Right? I've got a screenshot of it, so I can find it later on. But it said, "You're a disgrace to the Pokemon community," and I replied with, "Why?" And he went, "OnlyFans girls these days." And I replied with, "I've never." I said, I started off with, "I've never done any paid sex work in my life. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And I've actually done really well in school, and I've got a fully paid job. So I don't really know why you're commenting this on my photo. Like, I can't be in the Pokemon community because I've posted a picture of my face. You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
And he straight up commented it. Like, he was like, Pokemon, you're a disgrace to the Pokemon community." And I was like, what?
It's madness to me.
It's absolutely crazy. And that was like my first kind of experience like with the harassment, but like obviously that wasn't like kind of like harassment to like me sexually. Like that was like the bad, like negative harassment you get that does actually affect you, you know?
It's just rooted in deep misogyny as well. It's
Yeah.
something that like just it riles me up.
I get a lot of comments that are like, "Oh, you're only doing well because you're a girl," and all. I don't understand it because the best content creators for Pokemon are all men.
Yeah,
Unlisted Leon Hart, Max Mofo, that guy that does the videos on like what's happening in the Pokemon community. They're all men, and like it's really annoying because it's almost like the minute a girl gets like more Instagram likes than you have to go and like comment like,
Yeah.
oh, you're only doing this, you're only getting this because you're a girl. I'm gonna be better than you, but it's because you're a girl. Like, and it's like,
it's
well,
very, very like this deep rooted misogyny thing. It's like a girl can't do well unless, you know, she's only doing well because of XYZ, you know.
she can't just do well because she's
She,
putting in the effort, you know.
yeah, like, and this was the thing that got me about the Frosted Caribou video. Like, that video was produced like a Netflix documentary. You could tell how much research, time, and effort she'd put into this, and you know, people just diminished it to, oh, you know, she's got boobs. It's like, grow up. Like, you need to address this
Completely,
behavior. Like, this is
100%.
and this is why, to me, this is why there aren't more, like you were just saying, like all the kind of top creators are all male, and I think it's probably because women don't want to be involved in that sphere of, you know, because it
Yeah,
must come
yeah.
with just
Yeah,
so much.
and then they do that whole like, oh, but there's only simps watching your content, and it's like, well, like what, you know?
And it's also at the same time, it's like, you know what? If they are, they are. Like, I don't get that kind of.
But that's also misogyny. Like, how are they simps if they're enjoying my content, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's like almost like, whoa, a man's not allowed to enjoy her content because that would be bad. He's falling for her. That's bad. He's falling into her little trap, and I'm like, well, why? How is it not the same when you're falling into Leon Hart's trap? Like, I don't get
like,
that.
Men
People-
make
Yeah.
a lot of content for validation from other men, and I don't think they realize it. So it's kind of
Yeah.
the same thing. But that word simp, I think, is very problematic at the minute. It's yeah, it's used as a kind of weapon, like a single word weapon against women who create content online at the minute.
Oh, it's always been a thing though. Like, there is always a word, an internet word for men who support women for legitimate reasons. It used to be white knighting before it was simping.
Yes.
And it's like, you can watch someone's content. It's completely ridiculous, isn't it? That you have to, if you watch a woman's content, you have to find her attractive to watch it.
Exactly.
But if I watch Leonhardt's content, I don't have to find him physically attractive to enjoy his content. Like,
No.
don't get me wrong, he's a very buff man, but I'm not going to watch his content if I don't enjoy it because I find him attractive.
You're not specifically watching it because he is like the way he looks or how he sounds or like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
You're watching
like-
it. You're watching it because he's, well,
He opens
each to
vintage,
their own,
which
but
is
he's
nice.
entertaining. He's loud. He's got a good collection. He knows a lot about Pokemon. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like people also forget that he is like basically, well, after Max Mofo, he is basically the largest Pokemon content creator on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's the reason he gets as like new people to a certain extent, is because he has the success, right? Whereas
Yeah.
female and, you know, just non-male, I guess, would be the general term for anyone who isn't a male content creator, right?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
anyone who
completely.
isn't a male content creator constantly has to justify their position by just being much better. It's like, I like Randolph, right? No shots against him. He makes dependable content and he does similar things all the time, right? If I watch his content every day, people wouldn't question it.
Yeah.
He makes similar content. It's quite entertaining. I like watching it.
Yeah.
I said about Frosted Caribou. Like, if I watch Frosted Caribou's content every day, people would say that I only watch it because of her and because I'm a simp.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's
It's
just not
bad.
true.
Yeah, because you're creeping on her or some shit, and it's stupid because like they're just making it a thing. Like that's almost like their reflection of like what
Yeah.
they would do, of why
Yeah,
they
it's
would
like-
watch a girl.
It's
Yeah,
bad
you-
as well because she's really knowledgeable about the playing side of TCG. Like, I play TCG and I watch a lot of her videos on it. She does deck profiles,
Awesome.
and
Cool.
like she does like play streams with like her community, and like that side of it is really cool. And it's like she it was like what you're saying, Mark, like women almost have to constantly justify and have to be like at the top of their game to even compete with a mediocre man. That sounded really harsh
Yeah,
when it
no,
came
No,
out,
no, but like- But like, yeah,
Completely,
like you're saying,
completely,
I would need a reason to watch her stream. I don't need a reason to watch Leonhardt or anyone like, or Randolph, or even like smaller people. Like, you know, she did the follow-up video with Pokenomics, which was
Yes.
great. Just
Yeah.
putting it out there. But like, I watch his streams. I don't need a reason to watch it. People don't question the fact I'm watching his streams.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. Like I totally see that, and I think like that whole point is it kind of is echoed, I guess, in like the gaming side of things. Like,
Yeah.
and you see it in the TCG as well. Like I was saying, like I like playing the TCG, and I've gone to quite a few like regional events, which is it's like a grueling day. You play 9 rounds, like best of 3. It's like hours and hours, and you
Yeah,
get
yeah, I
very
can imagine.
short, like really short breaks in between. And yes, there are like women that play it, but it again, it's very male dominated. And
Mhm.
I've been paired up with some really kind of rude and nasty guys there. And I
Oh.
mean, the women that I've been paired against have been lovely, but you just occasionally get this real arsehole who, like, you can really tell hates being matched against a woman. Like, and it's very similar to the vibes. Like, I play Overwatch on the PC, and I don't really like playing it on mic anymore because as soon as I open my mouth and it's like revealed I'm a woman, there's like this split second where I hold my breath because I've had guys say like, "Oh God, we've got a woman on our team. Oh, you're gonna be shit." Like, you know,
Yeah, completely.
you can't.
100%.
Oh, and it's like I get the same vibe sometimes when I play the TCG in real life, like because you get those kind of. It's like what we're saying about the kind of women seem to have to be on top of their game to even like be involved with the guys that are playing. It's like
Yeah.
there was a really enjoyable moment once at regionals when I pulled out this pink deck box, pink sleeves. I was playing a
Yes.
Whimsy deck, fairy deck, and this guy clearly thought I was just being cute and just playing like that. But I kicked his ass, and he was furious about it. He stormed off that table as soon as
Yeah.
the game was done, and I was like, dude, like,
Yeah. Where's your sportsmanship now? Like,
yeah, it just wasn't cool.
the color pink, it needs to be reclaimed. Like, what is this? I
Ugh,
am so like, well, obviously, if you've seen like my things, like I've used pronouns like she, they. You know, I'm not fully like girly as such. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I love pink. Like, not as a girly color. I just like it. I think it looks really aesthetic. I think it looks nice. You know, all
yeah.
shades of pink look good together, which isn't really the case with the other colors. You know. And the amount of shit you get from it is like mad. It's just a
I've
color, you know?
Yeah, I've seen this on like TikTok where it's like a girl would have like, and I know I'm going a bit off topic here, but a girl would have like a whole pink setup, like PC setup, which I have now. I have like a pink, like I love it too. I was very like against this when I was a girl, and probably that was rooted in some like misogyny against my own self. But like,
Yeah, yeah. I was the
uh,
same. I was the same.
yeah, and now I'm like embracing it fully. But you see these people on TikTok posting a amazing setup. It's all pink. It looks so cool.
Yeah,
And
and
a
it's been
guy will
put
come in
together
and be like,
really well. Yeah.
"Why has it got to be pink?" It's like
No, and
it just
they're like all that to play Minecraft, all that to play Minecraft, all that to play Valorant, all that
it's
to
Yeah.
like
do that, all
people
that
can
for
What's
one
wrong with
spend.
game.
Minecraft? Minecraft's great.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. But it's also like, what do you mean all that for one game? Like,
Yeah, it's. I think there's very similar problems within like the Pokemon community and like the gaming
yeah, I
community.
mean they all kind of cross over considering like, you know, there's a Pokemon game and
Yeah,
like people stream the TCG and the game and stuff, but the comments and like the past, it kind of happens all different because like obviously on the game, like when I'm streaming, people can't say stuff directly in my chat because they'll just be like probably absolutely wrecked by the rest of the people there, you know?
yeah,
But in my anything private, they will say the most bunch of misogynistic crap you've ever heard, like, you know?
yeah.
And it's
It's
just like, it's just a bit weird, you know? But I definitely agree with you. Like, obviously they're all different, but they're all kind of like linked in some way, and the problems just cross over in the same comments,
yeah,
just different words.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I had a question that I prepared beforehand, and it kind of leads quite into this. It goes quite well. Like, when you came into the Pokemon community, did you expect this kind of treatment? And did you think it would be as bad as it was? As bad as it is, sorry.
I guess when I came in, not really. I guess I came back into the community and it's just me and my mate from years ago. We would just collect, and then I kind of got into the Instagram side of things, um, and yeah, I didn't really expect it to be that way. You know, it's like it's a card collecting thing. I I didn't expect it, but as time's gone by, I think I was probably maybe a bit naive to that, and yeah, like we were saying, it crosses over with some of the toxicity in gaming. So yeah,
I think I just didn't. I realized now. I'm reading through a DM that I was going to read out. It's huge, but I'm still going to take time to read out because I want to pick it apart because it's literally addressing every single. It's like a DM that's trying to be nice about what I posted, but it's so misogynistic, if that makes sense. But I'll go in and say first with my first experience with the Pokemon community. Well, my first experience with like kind of the community was like the gaming. You know, like I had my channel was like originally like a gaming channel. I used to put my Xbox clips up and stuff, and nothing really happened then. But then when I entered the actual community, I thought it was going to be. I always know that there's going to be some people, you know, like everything, you know, there's always going to be some people, even if it wasn't a problem, there would still be some people being a bit weird or harassing or whatever, you know. There's always going to be some little problems, but I didn't realize it was like as big as it was, you know. Like the more my account grew, the more these people came in, like filtering in, like loads, and you know, like let's say 20 people followed me, at least 5 of them would DM me, whether it was like completely like a normal DM and not a normal DM. But I, as a woman, like I can't differentiate those. I feel like at the start I was quite rude to people because I didn't know if they were trying to be like the men who were being really weird or not, you know. You
yeah,
don't really want it in the time of day because you're like, oh, like this again, you know. Like in the start, before I realized, like, and I also, sorry, I know I'm going all over the place, a bit chaotic. I forget that most people in the Pokemon community are quite old, and they're not in the same generation as me. Like my generation is very accepting, so like
yeah,
I was born in 2002, so like from like me being in like even like primary school, it was kind of okay to be like gay, you know. LGBT. The only
yeah,
one that was just kind of coming up was transgender, which is every time someone has spoken about this, I've never had a problem with any of it. But people who are a bit older obviously didn't grow up with that kind of thing. They were still growing up with like bullying LGBT members of the LGBT and all that kind of. Obviously not you two. I'm not saying you two were, but like it was probably when you two were in school, it's probably a lot more common for people like
yeah.
that to
Like
be
when I was
bullied
in
or
school,
harassed or anything.
people would use like gay as an insult. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
not
yeah,
cool.
exactly. And that's still going on, which is not cool. But like, people who are my age are respecting people a lot more now. I believe
Yeah.
so. Compared to your age, which is not a dig or anything. It's just from what I've
No,
observed.
I think
But
it's great. I
I
love
forget
seeing.
that. Yeah, I forget that people in the Pokemon industry are mainly that kind of age between like 20 plus, you know, or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
And I forget, and I kind of think that's why that I was going on to a new conversation here of like I think that they say so many things because they're so scared of like themselves almost, you
yeah.
know.
There's some insecurity. I think.
You know, because like I'm so open to like both men and women doing well because I think it's like I don't think being a man or a woman should be important, you know.
It shouldn't be. I don't think
Does
it
that make
should
sense?
be an issue.
No, that's what I mean though. Like for example, like it shouldn't be an issue for someone to change genders because like it's for themselves, you know.
Yeah,
So it shouldn't be a societal issue because it's like it's everyone's each to their own, if that makes sense. Like they're doing it for themselves, you know.
yeah,
Like, and it's just a bit stupid that men are like in the community, that little group of them kind of like specify that I'm a woman and like speak to me like that because I'm a woman. Like I don't think there should be differences, you know. I almost
yeah.
think that like all of us should just be like, yeah, none of us have a gender, and then maybe all of us would be treated the same. But that
Yeah,
wouldn't happen. But
I
if it's okay with you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and read out this DM unless
No,
you've got another question
I
mark.
was just gonna say, like, I totally agree with you. I wish there wasn't like a gender divide in the community. Like, I just want to be respected
Yeah,
uh,
completely.
as an equal.
Yeah,
On-
yeah, and I feel really guilty for being like kind of rude to some people, but I'm glad now that I've kind of I settled down into the community and I kind of started speaking to people. And PS and Vanillux, I'm not sure you'll know her, Mark. I'm not sure if you know her, Lex, but um, she messaged me once I put up one of these screenshots about these guys, And she was like, you can come play Pokemon with me and these guys. They're not weird at all. And so I followed them all. I started speaking to PSA Pimp, and that's when I kind of realized, like, okay, there's a safe space here, you know? And if men speak to these guys, I'll speak to them. But it shouldn't be like that, obviously. But I'm glad I've found it, you know?
100%.
And that's kind of given me a bit more confidence to like speak to people normally, and I'll speak to them until they go too far, you know? Not that they will go too far, but if they do go too far, I'll stop, obviously. But like, it's given me a place to like meet people, because I trust that those people will meet good people, and the people they speak to are good people, you know? Like, I trust their instincts. So yeah, I agree with you. It's like good and bad.
I get what you mean. Just quickly before you go, just quickly before you read the DM, which
go on.
Don't worry, we have plenty of time for all this stuff.
Yeah.
We're not, there's no time limit here. I'm free for as long as you need. But I feel like a lot of men, not to say a lot of men, some of these men who have like a very negative attitude towards women, I feel like almost it's because they like resent them for like a perceived advantage that they actually don't have.
Yes.
So it's like
completely.
It's like, you know, for every woman that, like, if you're a woman and you want to objectify yourself, put yourself out there, present yourself very sexually for your own benefit, that's totally cool. Like, I have no problem with that. But a lot of men resent women for this because they can't do it themselves.
100%.
And it's just like, you shouldn't be angry.
I think I disagree with that though. Like, I think if a guy, like, someone can take this idea if they'd like, but I think that women have kind of reclaimed themselves sexually, like, on their own. Like, I could post a picture and like I could post it for me and I would really not care about what anyone else says. But personally, I think in the male community it's a bit different. Like, to post a picture of yourself, for example, like with some muscle or something, is very, 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 like, it's like an anxious topic for most men that I know. Like, you wouldn't do that. So I feel like a man could do that, and everyone would be, well, most, you know, women and men are attracted to each other, you know, men and men are attracted, you know what I mean? Everyone's attracted to each other generally. So I feel like that would get attention, but it wouldn't be the same attention as the women who are exposing themselves get, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Am I making sense? Like, a man could post a picture of him holding his Pokemon card collection shirtless, and people would be like, yo man, you look good, but nobody would go in his DMs and be like, yo, I totally want to tap that, man. totally want to tap that.
Yeah.
I'm totally having you after dinner, you know what I mean?
Like, from my point of view, I kind of get what Mark's saying in that sometimes, and this is how I perceived what you said, Mark, like, if like I actually watched this video which was a response to Frosted Caribou, and the guy went, you know what girls do, yeah, this is how they get views, this is how, like, he had 100 odd subscribers and he kept bringing up her subscriber count and kept going, they've got these things called boobs, yeah, and he put like a pillow up his jumper and was like, and they arch their back like this, and it was almost like he was saying, I don't have the same amount of subscribers because I can't do that. And I was like, dude, is this what you really think? What you're really saying here is that a pair of boobs is more
I'd also like to say, true. I'd also like to say, like, it's stupid because, like, they're completely contradicting themselves, because they're like, I am just speaking to the men who do this, by the way. I just want to specify that again. Like, I have loads of lovely male friends in the community who do not do this. But like, they say that they only have subscribers, viewers, you know, etc. For their body, let's say, or face, or for me, I just get so many comments about my fucking lips and weird shit, you know, right? So they say that, and then they say, oh, you only have that because simps watch you, and they're specifying to males. So what they're saying is, their own gender is the reason we have views, so why don't they bring it up with their own gender, why their own gender doesn't watch them?
Yeah.
You get me? If they're saying like, oh, men, all your viewers are men, that's why you have them. I'm like, well, why don't you ask the men why they're not watching you? Don't come and harass me, you know?
Yeah.
If that makes sense in some sort of way, like.
You know what their response would be? It would be exactly the same as they said before, and then they just keep going with that.
Yeah, true.
Like, and I just want to reiterate, just for the sake of not having people coming up and go, although if they want to, I don't care, but like, I also am not saying this is like every man or
totally not.
Community. Like, obviously Mark has invited us on here, and I've really gone with Mark and done some done like we've done
Yeah.
some cards and stuff like that, and it's like
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
some fantastic people in this community. It's just
Definitely,
it's just the
100%.
select few that just make it very difficult to
It is a
be a woman
minority.
in this
It's
community.
just it's a minority. It's just so persistent that it seems like a majority to us.
Yeah,
If that makes
yeah,
if that makes
100%.
sense. Like it's
That
definitely a
hit the
minority,
nail
and
on the
there's
head.
like I don't think that I definitely do not think everyone, like, I'm sure there's some females like that out there. You know, I'm definitely sure for that. I don't think it's just a man problem, but like
Yeah, it's like the whole
that,
it's like the whole not all men argument. It's like if you've
yeah,
been
yeah,
stung by a wasp like 3 times in your life and you come up to a swarm of wasps, you're gonna avoid every single one of them.
yeah, and like run away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't think that you're all. I don't think men are bad or
No.
any of
No.
that.
It's almost sad that you have to say that though, because like
I know.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to
I
reiterate that because I can't be bothered with these comments that are like, oh, they're just attacking men now, you know.
Yeah.
But
I'd like to
yeah,
think that I'd like to
on you
think
go.
that if you were just outright attacking men for no reason, I'd probably have something to say. But like everything you're saying is just like, as a man, you don't like. I didn't know the extent that women get this until my girlfriend told me, and the reason I didn't know is because I didn't ask, because I just and
assumed it was
if you don't experience it, unless
Yeah.
other people talk up about it, which is why I'm quite passionate about talking up about it. It's like let's let people know that this is happening.
Exactly, and they can be aware of how they're speaking to people, or because I feel
Yeah.
like some people have said stuff to me that isn't dodgy or anything bad, but like I've kind of been like looked at my phone and been like, oh, I don't know whether I should reply to that or not, you know?
Yeah.
Purely because of the bad people.
Yeah, you get it has a lasting effect.
Yeah, exactly. So it can kind of like alter the way you see things. So like I hope this kind of clears some things up for people, basically.
Yeah, me too. 100%.
Yeah, that was really my intention for this podcast. Really, is just to kind of get the issues out there and just have more people aware who didn't know already. And by didn't know already, I mean men for the most part. But yeah, if you wanted to read that DM, you can. Fiona,
Yeah, well, I think it'll spark up some conversation, and kind of, But anyway, I'm gonna start. So I'm not gonna say who it's from, but they started off with, "I feel like the guys who harass you and other women in the / girls in the community have an addiction which comes from a place of resentment and anger." Right? Okay. That and the counterculture of the internet desensitize them, and therefore their behavior seems fine to them, which it's not. I'm not here to excuse them, I'm just trying to get everyone to a place of understanding. So first off there, I'm like, okay. I'm still reading, I feel like we're in an endless cycle of not knowing how to behave sexually, so women see so much of it online, and because of Corona and everything, they see them as opportunities to take advantage for their gain, and with OnlyFans and that sort. So straight off the bat, I'm like, well, I'm already finding this super offensive, because you're saying that because of Corona, men have the right, because they've been desensitized and have an addiction, which comes from a place of resentment and anger, which is not my problem, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
So it's okay because their behavior, the internet's desensitized their behavior, so therefore, due to Corona, that's why it's happening. And yeah, I should understand that. He's messaged me so everyone comes to an understanding, which I again took really offensively, because I was like, what do you mean? What is there to understand? Like, I'm trying to put my point out there so you understand. You know what I mean? I understand plenty of that. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, that makes sense. Everyone's whatever XYZ comes from trauma or whatever, the way they've been treated, but that never, like, yes, that scientifically is correct, but that never justifies an action.
Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to tell you why you're getting this harassment.
I know, and I understand what I understood what they were trying to do. Like, I understand, I don't think this is coming from a negative place. but like I'm gonna keep going because it's just worded very badly, and speaking this way it just is a bit. I'm just gonna read it out. I'm not gonna go too much into that because I think that's just an objectification trade-off. Don't know what that means. My main point is that we all just want human connection. Like, okay, well then don't come in my DMs and be like, yo, you're so hot, your lips make me so hard. Like, what? That's not human connection. That's straight up like making me uncomfortable.
No one should ever put those words together in that
you know
order.
What I mean? Exactly.
It's not fine.
But like, if you want human connection, you know, like join a Discord, like speak to people, do trades, do raids with people in the game, play Pokemon Go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even take a break and go get like a coffee with like your parents and or your siblings or your friend, or you know. You get me? Anyone? Okay.
Yeah. No. 100%.
And then,
that doesn't. His.
Yeah.
There.
And then I don't really know what he's saying now, but sorry, I do know this is a man. Just to specify.
Okay.
I noticed in your video you say you and some girls are half the age of these men. And this is really weird because he never specifies why he says that. Anyway, as someone who started loving Pokemon in the 90s, brackets, I'm 31, girls were practically non-existent in the hobby for years. Or that the hobby was taboo. That most people in it were nerdy or insecure. So I'm going to start off by saying I don't know why he's stated that I've stated that in my video. I am basically half his age. I'm 18 and he's 31, so pretty close to half his age, yeah? I don't have a problem with speaking to people, like, if they're older, like, you know, if they're not being weird. Like, I'm totally cool. I'm not ageist, you know what I mean? I'm literally friends with most people in this community that have, like, wives, XYZ, you know? Yeah, but there's a difference. Like, I'm not... Yeah. So I'm not like, oh, I shouldn't speak to this person because they're old. Oh, no, you know? I will give people a chance, as you'd say, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't understand what he's saying here. I'm going to read it out again, but he said, as someone who started loving Pokemon in the 90s, I'm 31, girls were practically non-existent in the hobby for years. So I don't really understand, like, what he's trying to say there. Like, is it, he's saying, like, that's why people are running to me so quickly? Like,
I feel like that's him trying to justify the fact that, or explain the reason why you're getting all this harassment is because it's like,
it's just
oh my god,
weird.
a girl in the community.
It's just a bit weird because like the type of DMs I get that actually bother me, like I don't mind the comments that are like, oh, you're hot or whatever, but like that bothers me for a totally different reason. That bothers me because the word hot is like objectifying. You know, I don't mind if you come in my DMs and you're like, wow, you're really pretty, because girls do that all the time, and I wouldn't see it any differently if a man did it, you know?
Yeah.
But it's the way that they come in my DMs and they're like, oh, you're so cute, and they're like 30. That is what straight there. There's a straight line there, and you should not cross it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what bothers me with the older people. That's I'm just gonna put that out right there. And then I'm gonna say what you gotta say just now.
It's just inappropriate. Like, they probably don't know your age, which is even worse to a degree.
Yeah. I've not stated my age anywhere. I just stated that half of us, like, I would say that about good 30% of the community is younger. Maybe between like 18 and like 23, maybe. But it's a whole community. Like, it's a kids' game, you know.
That's yeah. Like, I know you mentioned earlier about the fact that, you know, a lot of us, like myself, got into it. Like, I'm 30, and like I got into it when I was a kid. But Pokemon's been big for like all ages, so you can't.
Yeah, completely agree with you there. Completely agree with you there. Yeah. And with Instagram being, sorry, on you go, Mark.
It's just a really weird thing to say. It's like, I didn't know how old either of you were before we recorded this, because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all.
Because
exactly.
like our common interest is Pokemon, which doesn't
exactly.
matter how old you are. Like my nephew likes Pokemon.
It doesn't make me
He's
uncomfortable.
6. It doesn't matter how old he is.
Exactly.
He still likes it.
Yeah, exactly. And I just find it a bit like it doesn't bother me. So like I don't know why it just bothers me when they make words like cute and then send it to people without like any kind of thinking about it, you know?
Yeah.
It's definitely an impulse DM, isn't it? It's like there's no thought input into that.
Yeah. I just don't really know. I'm not saying like it was wrong, but like some of the wording is very wrong. Like the intention might have not been wrong, is what I'm saying. And then he said, I'm just going to skip most of this because he's just saying that Pokemon's accepted in the mainstream society now. That's basically what he said. And he said that there's lots more girls, which is awesome. And he said, I think so many guys can't believe it because they've lost their faith in themselves and others, so they resort to this behavior for connection instead of being a gentleman and true Pokemon trainer. I hate that. Hate it.
Like some
apologist. Hate it. No, but hate it. Like, gentlemen? Like, what are we in, like, 2000? Like, what? You don't need to be a gentleman. This isn't a thing anymore, you know?
This is a very strange response because it's almost apologizing on other men's behalf, which doesn't sit right with me. Like, I don't know why he wouldn't... like, this person is clearly thinking, like, oh, well, these people have done it for this reason, but I don't know why he's trying to let you know that, because it's... You don't want to hear that. Like, you don't care why these people are doing it, you just don't want them to do it
and then he said, shaming people for wrongdoing of any sort is bad recipe for rehabilitation. And I'm like, so you're telling me not to shame them? Like, I'm going to name and shame them. I'm sorry. Like, they need to... He's saying that that's bad for them, and I'm like... He said education understanding is key, and I'm like, I can't educate them unless it's public humiliation. Like, they're not going to listen. It's deep, as you said, it's deeply rooted inside of them. The only way to make them understand is through some sort of, again, it's really weird, I'm gonna say it, but it's some sort of like public bullying, but like it's not like straight to them, like offensively. I've not labeled who it is. I cut out all the usernames on my video. I don't label who it is, but the people who do that will see that video and it will affect them personally because they will be like, oh, I do that.
Like, the thing that they've said there about, like, oh, it's about education and rehabilitation. It's not your job as the victim of this to educate those people.
Yeah, I'm not going to make a video that's like, hi, everyone. So, like, please don't slide into girls' DMs saying this. Say this instead. This really affects us. Thank you. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah, but it's also, like, it should never be a problem if you want to hold that person accountable as well. Because that is the first step in somebody being educated and rehabilitated. It's like they have to be held accountable for it, and otherwise it will just keep happening behind closed doors. Like it's that. I think
I sort of disagree with the word rehabilitation, because it's like you don't need to change. It's not that they've committed a crime. They need to change their attitude, and any way you can make them change their attitude. Like, some people, like you said, it will be the shock of being exposed. That was what changed their attitude. But for some people,
like,
they just
like
need to be told.
What I was saying there is like.
Oh, carry on.
I was like, I've like not like people would say like, oh, he's saying like you shouldn't like shame them. And I was saying, like, I've put that up anonymously. I didn't name and shame them. I didn't put up their usernames or any of that, you know? So I can't take the blame for, like, bullying or any of that. But, yes, it's a form of, like, harassment. But I've not labeled anyone, so the harassment doesn't directly go to someone. Like, if they want to take that as harassment, then they need to change their attitude.
Yeah. Also, if someone slides into your DMs with a message of harassment, calling them out by name is not an issue in my book. Like,
no, they should. That's what, like, the see it in a screenshot thing.
Yeah, well, it's like I think a lot of guys are afraid of being cancelled, like, or shamed online, and it's like, well, the whole reason that people are speaking up about this is to try and stop this behavior. So maybe instead of being afraid of that, just never make it so that you say something like that will get you cancelled or whatever to
completely.
somebody else. Like, if you don't do that stuff, you have nothing to be afraid of.
Completely.
Just think twice before you send something to someone, and just think, like, would they find it weird? And if the answer's then, like, even if you think the answer might be like, yeah, like, if there's 1% of you that's like, this might make them feel uncomfortable, just reconsider sending it, or don't send it.
Yeah, or take out that part.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to say everything that you think.
Yeah, exactly,
people.
exactly.
You have to always remember that there's a person at the other end of that, and whether you think it or not, you don't always have to say it. Like,
Completely, and asking is also fine. Like on my stream the other night, someone was like, "Oh, I've got some Pokemon pickup lines. They're quite funny. I don't want to put them in here. Would you be okay with me putting them in the Discord?" Like even
Yeah.
asking before you do, because I know that's not like straight up anything, but it could make someone uncomfortable. And I said, "That's absolutely fine. And they made a channel and they did it, and like that was fine because they asked, and it wasn't like really they didn't just straight up put it in the chat, you know."
yeah.
So you can still have, like, I know people always say like, oh, like they're taking away like the jokes and stuff, but it's like it's the importance of like knowing when something's appropriate and when something's like might need a question asked, or when it's just like not appropriate at all.
Yeah, 100%.
You gotta read the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's probably a good place to end it. There's just one thing that I've got that might be a regular feature depending on how it goes down. So I've got a segment called Route 101, which is Room 101, and I've shamelessly stolen the idea and just changed the name slightly.
Okay.
But it's one thing that you could live without in the Pokemon community. And for this one only, I will say nothing we've talked about today, because all of that, I don't think you should have to say that you want to exclude harassment from the community.
I understand. You want something we could live without that's like semi-positive, yeah?
Yeah, so for me, I'll go first, just as an example. I could do without there being 14 secret rares in every Pokemon set. Because I'm never going to complete a set ever again.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's very different. I don't collect sets anymore. Like, you'd have to open so much product to do that now. Yeah, I agree with you though.
I'm trying to think. Go on, Lex. I'm trying to think.
Okay, I've got one. I think for me, and I'm trying to make. I was thinking of something lighthearted because we've obviously delved into quite a lot of like intense topics. But I guess this one has a little bit. It has a little bit of like, oh god, she's going deep. But I don't like raffles in the community, just because I think it gets abused.
I'm gonna agree with that one.
Yeah, no, I agree too. I
agree. I'm gonna agree with that one.
I've made a habit of not doing them or promoting them.
Some people love it, and that's fine. But for me, it's just not. Yeah, I could do without it.
I'm trying to think. No, you've put me on the spot. You should have asked me at the start. I was gonna say I could do without there being so much like bulk and everything, but like, I'm trying to think of like a better one. I feel like that's very like last minute thought of, if that makes sense.
I could do without the cost to ship bulk to someone who'll buy them. That's what I could do without.
Yeah, true. I was gonna say I could do without there being bad sets. Like people just make bad sets. Like they're like, yeah, Sun and Moon, a bad set. You understand? I could do without that. Let's make all sets. Let's not make all sets a good set if you like it.
Yeah, as
let's make sets equal. Let's not put two Charizards and the rest trash in a set.
Exactly.
As Steam Siege's biggest fan, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I love Steam Siege, but that's I could do a podcast on that.
Steam Siege gets a boost, and I actually quite like it. I think it's cool.
Well,
yeah, because I came in like again at Evolution, so like Steam Siege was out then, so I collected quite a lot of it, and then the hate for it now. Oh.
Yeah, I know. Anything without a Pikachu or a Charizard or an Eevee is just like.
No, we don't
I feel
want
like I could do without Charizard.
Let's delete Charizard from any more.
Yeah. Ban Charizard.
God, if there was going to be enough comments already, there's going to be more now.
I know we've really stirred the pot now, haven't we?
No, I like Charizard, but I feel like we need to appreciate some other Pokemon, you know.
Yeah, we've got Charizard fatigue is a real thing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So before we go, do you both want to just say where we can find you on Instagram or Twitch or wherever?
Sure. I'm just the same as the at on here, so just Don's Piplup.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just on Instagram under Bulbio. I used to stream some TCG on Twitch. I haven't done in a while, but I might do in the future. And in
Yes,
which
you
case,
should.
my
I
handle,
agree.
I will
I agree.
try.
You should.
I will try, but my handle on there is Loftio, but the link's on my Instagram. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll put all the links in the description down below, like a good YouTuber.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's been great. It's been great chatting.
Honestly,
Yeah,
Mark,
thank you. Thank you for inviting me on.
That's
yeah,
all right.
it's been really lovely to be on. I've not done one of these before, and I also just wanted to say that I really appreciate you, like, really listening to what we had to say.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for listening. Definitely.
No,
Yeah.
it's fine. That was the intention, so you know. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. There will be another one hopefully next week. It's going to be a regular thing, so I will see you all soon. Goodbye.